Reality is not a solid wall. It is a thin, decaying fabric. And in the town of Bodfel, Massachusetts, that fabric has finally torn open. Item number SCP-2480. Object class Keter.
Special containment procedures. The town of Bodfel has been designated as Provisional Site 13. A 5-kilometer exclusion zone has been established around the town's perimeter under the guise of a chemical spill and subsequent soil contamination.
All roads leading into Bodfel are to be patrolled by Foundation security personnel disguised as local law enforcement and private contractors. Unauthorized individuals attempting to enter the exclusion zone are to be detained, interrogated, and administered Class A amnestics.
Field agents operating within SCP-2480 must be equipped with Mark II ocular filter lenses, also known as S-sight goggles, at all times. These lenses are calibrated to detect can't-counter signatures and perceive high-frequency dimensional anchors. Under no circumstances should an agent remove their S-sight goggles while inside the town limits. Prolonged exposure to SCP-2480's unfiltered environment has a 98% correlation with severe psychological trauma, spontaneous biological mutation, or total disappearance. Any instances of SCP-2480-1 encountered are to be engaged with extreme prejudice. Mobile Task Force Psi-9, Abyssal Gazers, is tasked with the containment and neutralization of these entities. Due to the biological nature of SCP-2480-1, incendiary weaponry is the preferred method of neutralization.
Description: SCP-2480 refers to a localized dimensional instability centered on the Bodfel estate. This instability is the result of an anomalous ritual intended to facilitate a Class XK end-of-the-world scenario. The ritual was interrupted mid-performance, leaving the area in a state of ontological flux.
To the naked eye, Bodfel appears as a decaying but otherwise normal town. However, the use of S-sight goggles reveals a drastically different reality. The true Bodfel is a landscape dominated by massive, pulsating structures composed of necrotized flesh, chitin, and yellowed bone.
SCP-2480-1 instances are humanoid or bestial entities that exhibit extreme physical mutations. These include elongated limbs ending in serrated blades, multiple ocular orifices, and the ability to fold themselves into local space, rendering them invisible to the unaided eye.
The center of this anomaly is the Bodfel Manor, formerly owned by Cornelius Bodfel, a suspected member of a neo-Sarkic cult. It is believed that in 1952, Bodfel attempted to summon a deity-class entity referred to as the Weaver. The ritual was intended to sew the two dimensions together. Because it was never completed, the sewing process is stuck. The two worlds are currently overlapping, creating a digestive environment where the laws of physics and biology are increasingly fluid.
Addendum 2480A. Investigation log of Agent Myron. Myron, I'm entering the sub-basement. The air is thick. It smells like a slaughterhouse that's been baking in the sun for a month. My S-sight goggles are redlining.
Without the goggles, it's just a basement. But with the S-sight, God, the walls aren't stone. They're fat, thick layers of yellow fat pulsing. There are veins the size of fire hoses running across the ceiling.
I see them. SCP-2480-1 instances. There are 3 of them near the altar. They're sewing.
They have these needles made of human femurs, threaded with what looks like spinal nerves. They're stitching a rift in the air.
Myron, you don't understand. The rift, it's not just a hole. It's a mouth, and it's screaming. I can't hear it with my ears, but I can feel it in my teeth. The ritual isn't over. They've been doing it for 70 years. They're trying to finish the stitch.
The audio then cuts to a high-pitched screeching sound, followed by the sound of tearing meat. Agent Myron's signal was lost. 3 days later, a new vein was observed growing in the manor basement that matched his DNA profile.
Addendum 2480-B, recovered journal entries. September 12th. The fog didn't lift today. Yesterday I saw Mr. Henderson standing on his porch. For a second, I saw his face. It wasn't skin. It was just a cluster of wet, blinking eyes. I ran home.
September 28th. They started the chanting last night. My kitchen table turned into a pile of raw ribs. I'm writing this from the crawl space. They aren't speaking English anymore. It sounds like a knife scraping a bone. Incident Report 2480 Omega. On July 14th, 2014, the entire town of Bodfel vanished from all satellite imaging for 6 minutes. Foundation personnel reported seeing a colossal multi-limbed entity manifesting above the town. Its hands, each nearly a kilometer long, holding massive ethereal needles. The entity was observed sowing the sky. Mobile Task Force Psi-9 was deployed with heavy incendiary support. The Foundation utilized experimental Hume stabilization anchors to force the dimensions apart, restoring the visual veil over the town. The unfinished ritual is not a static event. It is a slow-motion catastrophe. Every day the stitches hold a little tighter. Every day the weaver pulls the thread a little harder. We are not just containing a town. We are holding back a predator that has already started to swallow us.
There is no known way to reverse the ritual. We can only delay the inevitable. The Foundation continues to monitor the site, but the screaming from the sub-basement has not stopped since 1952. It is getting louder, and now, for the first time, it's calling us by name.
Subscribe for more Foundation archive.